So we're back again on Bucks and Brews. We were going to have a guest for this episode, but he bailed on us because I guess, I don't fuck if I know, I don't care.
Because you think you're cooler than me.
So anyways, he bailed on us. So we're going to switch it up today. We're going to talk about gig jobs. We're going to end up doing a twofer tonight because we're going to have another episode later where we catch up with Vanessa on her debt journey. Mike has some exciting information for Nick. He's going to love this. We're going to talk gig jobs tonight. Nick's done some gig jobs. I know about some gig jobs. Mike, what is the news you have for Nick? He called me this weekend with this.
No, we're not starting with news.
No.
We're starting with drinking.
Okay, fine. We'll start with what we're drinking.
I care about your news, but I care more about my alcohol.
I thought we'd get to the alcohol in a few, but okay. I'm again with the Mackenzies. And then I have Atwater Dirty Blonde. I found one of these still in the fridge, so that's going down tonight.
I went with the old tried and true blue, Bud Light. The other is a Bud Light, and let me roll over here. I brought my Bud Light. So, I know, it's not a 30 rack, but it'll do. So, all right.
I know Mike's got some fun stuff to drink. Go ahead and tell me for your cool news.
I'm starting with Shorts Brew, PB&J.
There we go.
And then I'm moving on after that to Stevens Point Brewery Milkshake Malt Porter.
That sounds delicious.
And then if I need a third one while we're on here, I'm going to move to a O'Fallon's Dad's Oatmeal Stout.
Excellent beer.
Fantastic. So, all right.
Mike's got news.
You have great news. David.
And it relates to the topic.
It does relate to the topic.
I opted, since I spend a lot of time alone when I don't have my kids, to utilize some of that time to make some more money to invest. I mean, not to help make ends meet, but strictly to invest in stock market retirement. So I've been doing DoorDash since this weekend.
Yeah, that's huge. So strictly for investment, retirement funding, your kids, do you have a goal for what it's for? I mean, besides investing?
Mostly just retirement, maybe some for college education.
Self-directed
stock
IRA.
Market. Each week I might throw whatever I make into a different thing. You know, one week it might be, dividend stocks. Another week it might be kids, betterments and other things like that.
I think what I just heard him say is anything that David and Nick talk about that week, he's going to invest in.
So I got a phone call.
I'm proud of this. Is all like we can make this happen.
I got a phone call Saturday because Mike was coming up to work the business.
Yeah.
He goes, I've been listening to a bunch of the episodes while I've been driving. He goes, I've been driving a lot because now I'm doing DoorDash. I'm like, you are? He goes, yeah, I want some extra money for investing. I was listening to your dividend stock episode. We need to talk dividend stocks. I'm like, great, we'll talk about it when you come up. So literally Mike came up. I got him hooked up with Stash. I got him hooked up with Public. Gave him a whole list of dividend stocks that I've invested in for Caitlin and myself.
Yeah.
And he's off and running.
This is huge.
I sent him like 4 text messages today. Every time I send him a text message, I'm sorry, I'm driving right now. I'll get back to you later.
Yes.
Yeah. I made $50 in about 2.5 hours today.
It's not bad.
No.
I mean, what else were you doing with that 2.5 hours?
Nothing. I was out of work at that point, so didn't have to start drinking till 7.
Okay, so I mean that's what, $17 an hour?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, let's see. 16, yeah, not bad.
I have other news.
What? So now when DoorDash, because I want to get to your news, but I'm really excited about DoorDash.
Okay, go ahead.
So DoorDash. So how does this work? Like you have to have a car.
Have to have a car. Have to have a phone.
Okay, and you just go on the app and somebody just tells you
wherever I'm located, they will find a pickup near me. And then I'll drive to wherever it is. And then wherever I drop it off, they'll know my location and find, another pickup not too far from there, usually within a couple miles. So you get there in 5 minutes or less. And, sometimes you're out in FE doing a delivery and then you have to drive back to get to the next location. But, quite often I've had a lot where it's in that like Western Michigan University campus area. the apartments and other things out there. So I'm usually pretty close to, an area that has restaurants and things like that.
There you go. Huh. Okay. And so it's a lot like Uber. Basically, whoever's the closest person gets to pick the person up. Okay. So, all right. And then you get paid per transaction, or how much people order?
You get paid basically whatever they charge as a delivery fee. You get part of that, plus then you get a tip for
Okay.
people who actually tip.
Sure.
Like there were a couple of, like I did a big one from Hopcat in downtown Kalamazoo, and then another big one from, I don't remember which one it was from. Might have been a Panera Bread one, and I got like where somebody had ordered like $30-$40 worth of stuff, and I got like a $10 tip on it.
Oh, perfect. There you go. So, and
It
how
makes up for the people who don't tip.
and you can do it whenever you want, right? Like pick the hours.
You pick the hours.
That's great. Huh.
Yeah, when you have time, you go on. You don't, you can say, I want to start now. I want to do 2 hours worth. Then,
That's great.
that's what it goes.
So, what's your other news, David?
Dawn got us a sponsor for a week.
This is big time, folks. Big time.
That's
Sorry,
bigger than mine.
I'm sorry I asked you about what Grubhub.
DoorDash.
Same thing. No, I'm sorry. Let's get back to us, people. Okay, we got to care about us
That's
once in a
bigger
while.
news.
Dawn stopped into Aylbert the other day to pick up bottles.
Yeah.
Because she gets bottles from them. It's mostly wine bottles there because they don't sell really liquor.
I'm okay with this.
And they said they had something, I think they were changing over, just a new porter that they had. They had a peanut butter porter. And my wife saw it and she goes, I bet my husband would love that. And they're like, yeah, does he like porters? She goes, he loves peanut butter porters. He probably even talked about it on his podcast. And they said, podcast?
Here we go.
What do you mean podcast? So she starts telling him about it, and he goes, let me know. I'd be happy to donate a growler.
Gosh, Aylbird, when you come on, you're going to be my best friend for the day.
So we might be getting a growler of peanut butter porter.
So our gig job is talking on a microphone to people and
trying to get beer.
We don't get paid nominally, but we get beer. Say,
I'm okay with that.
It's actually a really good job.
It's not bad.
Say.
I mean, I wish we got more free beer, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
That's good news, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great
You're
news.
welcome.
Benson, I'm real excited about this because
And maybe if you do a good enough job with that, every time they do a new seasonal or whatever, they'll be like, hey, talk about this on your podcast.
Maybe if we do a good job. Do you know who we are? We do the greatest job, the best job, a huge job.
Yes.
We are the biggest and best.
We're
definitely the biggest.
So you started this to do strictly for investing because you're utilizing your time, trading time for money. This is huge.
Yep.
Because soon you're gonna be able to not do those because you've traded this time right now, right? Like,
yep.
I was just, excuse me, I was just talking to somebody. I said, you get the advice of do what others won't do now, so you can do what others can or can't later, right? So others aren't willing to sacrifice their time now, but they're gonna always work until the end. So, I worked my butt off when I was a little younger, and now I don't have to work my butt off as much. I mean, granted, my brain's frying right now because of how much that's working, but physical labor, I'm not doing as much. We were kind of talking about that beforehand. Shoveling kind of came up, like people got their bills for plowing, and I was talking to another owner for real estate, and he's like, you can find a kid for $20. I said, look, I posted it out there looking for somebody to do $20 for a thing. They said they were going to do it, and then all of a sudden, hey, it took me a little bit more. Could you do 35? And it's like, all right, sure, 35 is fine, but man, like there's no kids out there shoveling. I mean, I live in suburban neighborhood where I have a lot of kids, and I always carry cash, right? Like I'm waiting for that kid to be like, hey, can I shovel your driveway all day? It's yours. Like, no, I mean, I don't know. And I can't say it's the generational thing. I think a lot of it has to do with like how many stranger dangers are out there, and like you don't want people to just go knock on doors and if I mean back in the day my mom let us go free. I would knock on every door to try to sell candy bars or try to sell subs. I mean, I anything like you'd assign. I come home with a van full. I won the competition every year in school for most sold items or whatever, right? Like, and I would just walk up and down the street and be like, "Oh, you ordered this, you ordered this, you ordered this," like give them their order and stuff. I mean, no soliciting sign. You know why people have no soliciting signs?
Because of you?
It's because they're the people that can't say no. Right, so you stop at my door because you know for a fact they can't say no.
I have one of those signs.
Yeah.
It's not because I can't say no. It's because I don't like people.
Yeah, but I would still stop at your damn
You
house.
would, and I tell you to piss off.
Bullshit, right? My little daughter, 5 years old, blue-eyed, blonde hair, would look and be like, "You want to buy a candy bar?" He'd be like, "I don't, but I'm
she can look at me like that, and I would still say no.
Yeah, okay, coming from the guy.
I'm by to talk to you about vibrators.
Right. I don't knock on your door to ask about beer and vibrators.
This guy's so full of crap. So he used to.
I would buy it from Emerson because I know Emerson.
Yep, and he would buy it from people because
not happening.
If somebody walked up and said, "Hey, I'm part of this school," I mean, ask him who bought the most out of our own fundraising stuff while we were at Godwin. Okay.
Yeah, but it was clothes and shit.
Said clothes. So again, you just have to find the right thing for the right person to buy.
I didn't buy.
You bought scratch tickets more than anybody I know. Scratch whatever 3 numbers you scratch, you had to pay that amount of money.
I bought one of those once.
See, one. All it takes is one. Because you know what? I'm gonna sell that thing, and they're gonna go, "Hey, if I buy this time, please don't come up to me next time you're selling." And I'll say, "Okay, like a do not call list, sure, but I'm guaranteeing I'm selling you this thing." Whoever sold the no soliciting signs, they knew it was a one and done. Me, I was there, baby. Like nobody's gonna prosecute a young kid.
So, can I talk about this a little bit, Mike? When we get into the sending your kids around the neighborhood?
Yes.
So I also got another call from Mike this week, which was a little disturbing. You want?
Oh. Yes, I found out. Well, let's just say a week ago on Tuesday, I had to go into the doctor for an MRI. Nothing major, just some hearing loss. So they were testing it. Came back to my house. At the door, as I was opening it, is a business card from a DHS child specialist. So, of course, immediately I'm like, why is DHS child specialist coming and looking for me? So like I'm a little freaked out. I call the next morning, didn't got the outgoing message. He's a child safety investigator. So different than what his card says. His card made it seem a lot less severe. He called me back because, of course, I'm like, why'd you leave a card at my door? Thinking, who's potentially complaining about me and my kids or whatever. And come to find out, there's a registered sex offender that had some complaints against them that's in my neighborhood. So that's why the guy was out. Well, he didn't say that. He just said somebody in the neighborhood has had complaints about, some suspicious activity involving children. So he said what he could. He said, have you seen anything, in your local area that, kids you wouldn't normally see? And I said, no, what the kids I do see are kids that I'm used to seeing in the neighborhood, like families I know have kids and everything. He's like, okay, I can't say much, but, he's like, you just told me you have kids. I said, I have kids as well. I said, my personal thing is I check the sex offender registry at least every 6 months to a year. He's like, so he suggested it. My next door neighbor is a registered sex offender for, I don't remember, what did we come up with the thing?
It was, I want to say it was 4th degree with a child under 13.
I say it makes you.
My kids being just around the age of 12 and 13.
Yeah, listen, it makes you have to hold your kids tighter and watch them. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you
know?
really, you can't just say to your kids, yeah, you want to go play down the road, no big deal.
Yep. You know, and then you have to teach them, hey, anybody but me talks to you, right? Like you need to know them. I mean,
Yeah, you can't anymore. And like I said, even when we I'm active with Scouts.
yeah,
It's Boy Scouts now. We do a little bit different fundraisers, but with Cub Scouts, we always did popcorn sales. And popcorn sales were quite often, going, with a group of kids door to door. But, the entire thing is it was always like, there's always got to be adults there. You get, when that kid is up at the door, they're better, you need an adult witnessing what's going on.
no, and that's exactly. And I know my mom's rule when I was younger was, any new kid that you're gonna play with, even outside, I have to meet their parents. And I say, wasn't a big deal, because eventually, quickly you just get to know everybody and stuff like that. But those were the rules. I have to know who your parents are. I mean, knowing now, it's just so we know who to look for, what to look for, things like that. I mean, can't judge.
Where did you grow up, Nick?
In Wyoming.
Okay, so you had probably a little like my neighborhood was a pretty small neighborhood. So like pretty much, at least on my street, my parents knew, and my mom grew up in the house that, we grew up in. So she pretty much knew a lot of the families that already lived
Sure.
on that street. And a lot of them were like her, they bought the house from their parents. So
Yeah.
there's already a level of trust. Like David, where he grew up, didn't have a neighbor for like a half mile.
Yeah. Well, I'd say mine was just, we lived in that transition community, right? I mean, it's the starter homes, the starter homes that people constantly had turnover there, right? I mean, you get the people that had like the one kid, and they moved when they had their second, or they might have two, and then they're like, oh, we need a bigger house, and the older you get, the more money you make, so you afford a bigger house.
Well, even in my neighborhood growing up, like Mike said, a lot of the people that we had in the neighborhood, they sold their houses to their kids.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was in that age where I didn't have a lot of kids around me. I mean, they were, at the end of the road or down the next road. So, I mean, it was a bike ride away.
Yeah.
But, by the time I was in high school, yeah, we had some younger kids around now because, the kids that were older than me had bought the house from their parents. They liked the school district. So they said, hey, I'm going to,
Well, and you're comfortable in the area.
Right.
So, and I do think it's really hard for kids with gig jobs now. I mean, to go out and try to find. I mean,
it's tough. You can't just go mow a lawn.
right? Like, I mean, I look like
No.
this. I look like this, which is like homeless and poor for those that are listening and not watching. I mean,
Looks like you.
A little bit better looking though.
Maybe.
I can't say I'd walk up to me. I mean,
Right.
Granted, when I was young, I just had balls of steel, so I
Yeah.
walked up to anybody. But
Yeah, but you wouldn't let your daughter walk up to people.
no, I mean, right? So, and we teach her a lot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, you have to. We all have friends that have kind of gone through some. I mean, it's right next door, and it's proven, right? Like it's in the court. It's in the court system that this person has been prosecuted, so they can't say they didn't do it, right? And I get that there's,
Yep.
but when you have fourth degree, I mean, it's not like it's peeing outdoors.
Right.
So, but
Which we've all done once or twice.
I mean, it happens.
Especially at Nick's pool.
Yeah, it happens. So,
No, but like I said, I know some kids that, they're brothers from a family that I'm really close to through Scouts. But I mean, the kid, they do the lawn mowing, but everybody they mow the lawn for is people they know,
people they know, right?
Like if I live close to where they would, I'd be like, okay, mow my lawn, I've already paid. So Max is looking forward to it because I told him this summer I'd start paying him to mow the lawn.
That's exactly it. I mean,
Well, yeah, Caitlin used to mow my mom's lawn
Right.
for money.
well, it's, and that's right. I mean, my mom pays my nieces and nephews and stuff, right? And so my daughter will mow. My problem is, I'll have enough lawns. My daughter will just go mow them for me, and she'll mow my mom's. And right now, I mean, even right now, so like I mow my mom's, I mow my grandparents, I mow, just way too many families, and but my daughter, I don't get paid for it. My daughter will end up getting paid for it.
Right.
So when it comes, but, I I think that it's tough. It is, I mean, even lemonade stands now, like I still see them, and I stop every time and I support them, right? I mean, I always carry cash, so it's like if they're charging a quarter, here's $1. Like I there was these girls in the neighborhood, and a boy, they were selling stuff on a table, and it ended up being a bunch of Barbie dolls and something else, and they had like $1 on each of them, right? And I was like, oh, you got like 14 items. Here's a 20, and I just wiped them out, and I was like, see ya. I'll buy everything just to make it done. I mean, you know how many bracelets, rubber band bracelets that we own or whatever. So many things. I'm the guy who should have a no soliciting sign because
Right.
I cannot say
if it's
no.
a kid, you're gonna buy
Factual statement, man. If you're out there hustling, like the problem is you're gonna probably have to stand there and listen to like me tell you how you're gonna be successful.
Right.
Like I will tell you, look, kid, you want to be successful. This is what you're gonna like. I'll give them like sales tips, lessons all day. And it's just say outgoing personality, I guess, right? But I want to see people succeed in life.
So we're kind of running around the subject here. And
that's a gig job. Kids running around.
I'm not
stuff.
saying it's not. I'm just saying, let's get into some specifics here because Mike's talked about DoorDash a little bit. You have some knowledge on Uber because you've done an Uber.
Yeah.
I have some knowledge on Shipt because my wife did that. I have some knowledge on Amazon Flex because both my wife and I did that.
Yep.
So, I mean, we can get into these gig jobs a little bit that, adults do.
Yep.
Obviously, I think the gig jobs for kid would be a great episode. But again, I mean, you really got to know who you're doing these jobs for. You can't just, knock on Mrs. Calabash across the street and see if she'll let you, mow her lawn.
And that's, yeah. But no, I think it sounds like DoorDash and Grubhub, right? So they're kind of the same.
Well, they have Uber Eats. They have Postmates.
Yep. Okay. Do we have Postmates around here?
I think so.
Okay.
And I don't know. I mean, I've learned to just do stuff I buy and have people deliver for me. Grubhub is a little more expensive in terms of their delivery fees. So maybe I picked the wrong one. Maybe I would make more money if I deliver for them.
I mean, see, that's weird because that's fun. I'd like to compare the two because my assumption is, let's say Grubhub and DoorDash do the same one. Grubhub cost more, but I feel like the people that buy off the more expensive one are probably going to be the better tippers because they're just not caring about the delivery fee in the first place.
See,
they don't seem to care about the money aspect.
Here's the deal. Mike and I worked a job once where we sold.
Just once?
Well, we've only worked 2 jobs together. I think only 2 jobs together. I mean, you can't count this because we work for free here. We sold vacuum cleaners, high-end vacuum cleaners, but vacuum cleaners. No, it was Filter Queen.
No, Kirby Vacuum's the only way to go.
Filter Queens were better, but anyways.
Not a chance. The Kirby Vacuum has a transmission that was helped design by the Porsche company, right? Okay. So that way it goes fast. Yeah. The plastic that's on it.
Kirby sucks.
The plastic that's on it is the exact same stuff.
Kirby sucks. Anyways, can I get back to the point?
Talk about what would be considered probably a gig job nowadays.
Oh, gosh,
it definitely would. Oh, gosh, so, I mean, we found out quickly that if you went into a rich person's house with a Filter Queen, and we charge $1,800 for these freaking vacuums.
Yep.
That the rich person was going to haggle that price forever, and if they didn't get it for the price they wanted it, you were out the damn door.
Yep.
Now, if you walked into a poor person's house, they pay full price.
Here's cash. Yep. Well, that's what I'm saying is, again, so the people that are willing to just willy-nilly throw their money for the more expensive delivery, even though you could go to the different app or whatever, they're just the people that are loose with their money. I'm not saying, I mean, it's good for you because you're
they're not necessarily the people that have it.
Right, exactly. I say you can go to the trailer park and they're probably going to give you more money than the $400,000 house people.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the difference between the $400,000 house people and the trailer park people is those $400,000 house people are going to throw it on their credit card or pay cash right at that point, and that's why they're going to haggle. Is they're going to give you that money up front, whereas that trailer park person is going to need to put it on credit and pay for it over the course of 3 years or whatever.
Yeah, true story. Because I mean that's unfortunately what happens. I mean, people don't necessarily think of their money. I mean, I feel good because Michael, sent me a message. He's like, "Hey, I listened to this episode."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey, that's awesome." He goes, "Yeah, I can't watch because I just don't have time to sit and watch. But when I'm driving to work or something, I'll throw on one of your guys' podcasts just to see what you're talking about." And he obviously loves it when we argue more than if we.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Because that's way more fun.
Oh, of course.
well, you guys, that's my favorite part of the episodes is when you guys argue.
You're gonna love the baseball episode then, because I'm sure all of us are gonna be arguing.
Oh, I agree. We will. I mean, there's just no chance.
But it'll be 3 against 2. 3
Yeah,
Tigers
probably.
fans against 2 Cubs fans.
Probably.
Oh, we'll see what we can get out of it. But, so and things we haven't mentioned, like out of like gig jobs, is things that aren't really happening right now with the pandemic.
Mhm.
But this is how my mind works with people that are listening. So when iPhones come out, or PS5s and all that,
Mhm.
like you could pay people to stand
stand
in line for you,
Yep.
right? So like those are great gigs, like because you understand that, hey, I'll just do this a couple times and get paid for it. But right now, one of the biggest things that are happening is we have a shortage on ammunition.
Yep.
Okay, so you could probably go stand in line once you find out when these places are getting delivered, stand in line and buy this stuff for guaranteed profit from these people. And number 2, baseball cards and Pokemon cards, I think, are coming back, right? Like, dude, stand, because if you go to Meyer right now, go take a look at the baseball section. It's so picked over in basketball and all that.
Mhm.
So, if you can figure out when these shipments are coming in, yeah, you can sell it on eBay. But if you want that guarantee, just find somebody that's like, boom, I'll just guarantee to give it to you if you go stand in line for me, right? I mean, they'll take the risk and get the extra payment. That's I'm waiting for somebody to do that.
You had that friend that had the Mahomes card.
Yeah.
And you had asked, "Hey, you sold it for $500. Don't you wish you would have had it today?" And he's like, "I sold it for a profit."
Yeah.
So I mean, I think I told you this before. Caitlin pulled a Roethlisberger his rookie year, 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
And we had people say, you could get up to 1,000 for that if you wanted to sell it right now. And she's like, "No, I don't want to sell it." She's not into selling her memorabilia, which she gets that from her dad. I don't sell anything.
Yeah.
I'd sell a Ben Roethlisberger card in a heartbeat.
You would have been a heartbeat. I know. Well, it doesn't hurt that we both hate him.
Yes.
But I mean, his rookie year, I didn't hate him. So she's like, "No, I want to keep that." So I was like, "Yeah, that's fine. You want to keep it? Keep it."
Mhm.
And I mean, he's probably a Hall of Fame quarterback, even though he's, an actual douchebag in real life.
Sure.
So, I mean, there's a possibility it could be worth more than $1,000 at some point. But if she had sold it for 1,000 and he had turned into Mahomes, she wouldn't feel bad, turning around going, "Well, I could have gotten 5,000 for it."
Yeah.
Because you never know. I remember the same place we got that card from had a Kyle Orton, and the guy that was managing the place goes, "Hey, I got a Kyle Orton, and it's like 1 out of 20.
Yeah.
You want it?" I said, "Well, what are you asking for it?" He goes, "Oh, I can easily get $500 for this." I'm like, "Nope."
See.
A Kyle Orton?
Well, it was his rookie year, and of course he was leading the Bears to a great record. So
yeah, but
Kyle Orton mania was high. And I sat there going, "I like Kyle Orton, but I don't think he can throw 50 yards down the field."
Yeah.
That would be definitely a loss if you'd have bought that for $500.
It would have. And I wasn't about to.
And some people take that risk, right? I mean,
I got a signed Orton football. I like my signed Orton football. It cost me like $30.
Yeah. So so let's get back to your gig job.
Yep.
You woke up one day, you said, "I want to do something to make money." How did you figure out what you wanted to do?
You're not going to be?
Yes.
Sorry. The big thing, and actually I was going to ask you this about things like Uber. Like when you're having somebody in your car with you, do you feel the necessity to talk to them?
Me, because of who I am, 100%.
Well, I mean, you, yes. But I always be like, taxi drivers, seem like there's like a desire to be like social. And to me, I wanted something where I could make money, and I had to limit my actual interactions with people.
Sure. No, that's great.
Because I'm not quite as bad as David when it comes to hating people, but I really don't like interacting with people I don't know.
Sure.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes back to Mike and I have the same thing. If you like something we like, we're happy to talk to you. But we're not going to find out if you like something we like because we have absolutely no interest in getting to know you. So, I mean, if you bring it up, I'll be your friend. Case in point, we had an appointment on Friday night. Guy came in, his name's Kermit.
DJ Kermit, what going on? Mr. Kermit Harris, thanks for watching.
I said this because Nick knows Kermit. So he comes in and he's a Star Wars guy and he likes Star Trek and he's talking and he's like, dude, you got to hit me up on Facebook. And mind you, I've not been on Facebook much because I fucking hate Zuckerberg. He's a douchebag and his whole platform is bullshit because they protect, racist assholes and then throw people that call out racist in Facebook jail for 30 days. But anyways, off my soapbox. So I go and I find his page because how many people are named Kermit? His legal name is Kermit, Mike.
Yeah.
Kermit.
How fucking badass is that?
His dad,
That's pretty damn cool.
His son is or his dad was? One of the two. Yeah.
So I go and I find him and I have two mutual friends with him. One is Brantley, my tattoo artist. Shout out to Brantley. The other one's Nick. So I'm like, yeah, I did find you. We have a mutual friend. He goes, who? And I said, well, Brantley. I said, but more importantly, Nick Watkins. And he goes, yeah, I know Nick. How do you know Nick? I'm like, well, I've known Nick for a long time. I do a podcast with him on finances and we drink beer. He goes, hey, you want a guest on your podcast sometime? Let me know. I'd love to come on.
That'd be great.
So I thought that was fun. And then obviously he does some gig jobs because he does DJing and stuff.
Yeah.
He works in a bar.
So we say real quick because we'll give him a shout out and we'll have him on just describe. So as much as people don't know this, my wife and I love to donate. And they were Stella's, which is a place that we
love Stella's.
Stella's, right? Big shout out, best burger in Grand Rapids.
Yep. Cheap beer
Stuff,
For sangria.
Yeah, I say the same.
Yeah, Mad Dog 2020 sangria.
So they're doing a benefit for something, and I want to say it was like karaoke or whatever. And we went and donated a bunch of money, and he had T-shirts, right? It said I blank the DJ, or I blank Kermit, Kermit the Frog, and all that. And so you could fill it in with a Sharpie. And so and just he come to find out he loves to donate as much, like he donates his time, he donates his knowledge, his passion. So we kind of got along on that aspect of things. And he is actually friends with, just like you had a tattoo guy and me, and he's friends with like so many random parts of my life. And I'm like, all right, it's really cool to bring it all together. So, we should say that'd be great to have him on for some gig things.
Yeah, he said he'd love to come on sometime, and I thought he was great. I mean, he cracks dad jokes, which
we all do.
They were good. I mean, they were Star Wars dad jokes, but they were pretty good.
I wouldn't understand the forces with me.
We know.
So you didn't want to interact. So now when you bring these people their food, you don't have to like exchange cash or anything, right? It's already paid for on the phone.
Nope, it's all paid for. And even when since I did my first set of deliveries, now they'll hook me up with like a card that if it's like where you have to actually pay in person, like it'll be paid for by DoorDash instead of me having to pay for it with my card and get reimbursed by the people who, because if that's the situation, you're going to probably get screwed over. So they know that if you had to pay for something with your own credit card and expect somebody to actually reimburse you, is that you'd probably spend 25 and get 20.
Yeah. No,
so I said they do that, and then they get a like one of the little I always think of them as like the pizza delivery guy heating bags.
Yep.
I did mine. So when I did Uber, right? All these things weren't around. I guess let's say I think Lyft came out just like
Lyft was a little after Uber, and Uber was like the first one.
Yeah, so I was, and this is 5 years ago. I'm actually 6 now, probably because I had my kid 5 years. But I was like, man, I wouldn't mind getting a little extra for when the kid pops around. And I'll just start a college fund. Kind of exactly what you did, Mike. I was like,
Yeah.
might as well get a head start on this college fund. Like all this money is going to go to that, or it'll pay for the hospital bill, something like.
Yeah.
I knew it was for that. Back when Uber started, you couldn't get tips, right? So, but I had been in an Uber, and you see the little jar there. So I put up a little jar that said kids college fund, right? And it's people would ask or whatever, right? Like I don't know. Uber said you couldn't, but I was like, if you do, that's fine. Like, the good thing with you though is like, I always try to give the best service.
Yep.
But I know that I'm not the perfect fit for everyone, right? There's probably people out there like Mike who don't want to talk, and me being the person I am, I'm gonna so
You'll talk to the person who doesn't want to talk to you.
yeah, we're going to the airport. Oh, where are you guys headed? Like I'm gonna spark up that conversation.
Yep.
You know? That's a 45-minute drive from my ass, and I have to listen to music that really low or deal with stuff. And I had a t-shirt business back in the day, and so I was right in the middle, I would say, of like growing that thing. And so I was like, man, I don't know, what's the chance? Like I've always been like that 1 in a million chance. Like if I hit the right person, that's gonna do. And so I pick up a guy that owned a catering company, and he's like, oh yeah, I own this catering company. Yeah, we're always looking for the people that we cater for. They're always looking for people to do stuff. So I was like, he goes, cool, I'll hand you your card. I ended up getting a sale out of that thing, right? Like it made it so much more worth just the few people that I interacted with. I mean, I did a kids softball team, the people that were headed to the airport, like just all off of, and the question, oh, why are you doing this? Oh, well, I have a kid on the way. I just want a little extra money. I figured I absolutely have nothing to do between, because I got out at 1 o'clock or so. My wife at the time probably didn't get out until like 4 or 5. So like I have 3 hours that now I kicked myself in the butt because I could have been buying real estate or, my mind wasn't necessarily full into that, slow and steady was always my mind. And it still is. I still don't always take my downtime to do real estate because I think if you do it 100%, you'll burn out really quickly.
You will.
So, I think that's great that there's different options for people. Like,
so Dawn started doing Shipt
Yep.
and Amazon because she was working as a TDI consultant at VW.
Yep.
And we knew that job was going to end. It ended up ending about 12 months before we had expected it to end.
Oh, wow.
So, she went and got a job at a company in Holland, and the girl that was training her was just a mega bitch.
Mhm.
And I told Dawn, I'm like, listen, you had a stroke 2 years ago. I can't have your mental health be an issue. If they push you, just quit. So she did. She got pissed off one day and she's like, listen, I'm not putting up with this. I'm out. And she just grabbed her shit and left. So came home and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I was thinking of signing up for Shipt, but I don't like people. She goes, I could do that.
Yeah.
So she hopped on, she went through the, interview process, and they hired her because, she's personable. She likes to talk to people, loves to talk to people. I hate talking to people. So, she gets in at Shipt, and she finds out quickly that she can make decent money at Shipt. So she started doing that full time, and she goes, I realize I don't get any time off. I don't get any benefits, but it's at my own hours. If I want to work, I work. If I don't want to work, I don't work. I'm making enough money. We started calculating it out. She was making with tips about $20 an hour, which, back then people were hiring for, $12 or $13 an hour. And you're a slave to them because, if you got a doctor's appointment, they're going to give you crap for 30 minutes over, well, you can't leave.
Yeah.
So then that winter time, leading into the holidays, she had picked up Amazon Flex. And when she started doing it, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Okay. They were paying premiums for shifts, and you had a defined area you could go. So it was basically the Grand Rapids area, but I mean, you could go as far as Muskegon or Greenville, or south. It didn't go much farther than Dorr.
Sure.
But west, it went all the way to Lakeshore.
Okay. Which, isn't far.
So, we did that, and she made good money at that for a while, and she got me into that. And it was, the thing I hated about that is you drive into the warehouse and whatever cart you drive up to, that's the one you get. So you don't know if you're going to Granville or West Olive or Greenville or Fairmont. I think we went to. Okay, Fremont we went to once. And I mean, you get up there and there's no service. So it takes twice as long to do anything. She got a shotgun pulled out up there. Oh yeah, we were up there because you could go, you know, 2 people could go in the car. So I went with her up there and we drove up to this freaking single wide on property. And I mean, it's 8:30 at night. The dude walked out with a fucking shotgun and asked her what the hell she was doing. She goes, "I'm with Amazon. I have your package." He goes, "Well, it's lucky it wasn't a guy. I would have shot him."
Damn.
Like, I'm glad I didn't get out.
I say, yeah.
So, I mean, you know, jobs are out there. They're, you know, I have a friend, one of my coworkers, her husband was thinking of doing Amazon. I'm like, I wouldn't do Amazon anymore.
Yeah.
And she goes, why not? I'm like, well, they expanded the zone. So now if you're picking up your packages in Grand Rapids, you not only have to worry about the Grand Rapids area, they could send you as far as the Lansing area or the Kalamazoo area, which, you know, there are people that have picked up packages in Grand Rapids and they're delivering in Mattawan.
Oh, wow.
That's not worth it. Mike works in Mattawan. That's not worth it.
Not from Grand Rapids, it's not. I mean, if I was picking up in Kalamazoo and having to drive to Mattawan, but yeah, you're probably not getting reimbursed for the gas and the wear and tear in your car at that point.
Nope.
Yeah, no, I would have been done.
Well, and you know, Shipt has changed their process too. I mean, they're only worth picking up the small orders now because you really get penalized for the bigger ones.
Sure.
You don't make as much as you used to. And I mean, Mike uses Shipt. He's a great tipper.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, but I still, probably my biggest order usually is $50.
Mm-hmm. But they're making more off of that $50 and you're tipping them well.
Yep.
So they're happy to pick that shop up.
Yeah, because my standard tip is on a $50 order is probably 10 to 12 bucks.
Yep.
If you need me to ship for you, just let me know. I'll make sure.
You were down here closer. You just wanted to shop for me. I would pay you.
I'm gonna make sure. I get you tortillas, taco seasoning, ground beef.
All Nick's buying is taco stuff.
Like factual statement.
I got taco stuff at home right now.
Oh, me too.
Because I'm living in the back for
I
like
don't
2 days.
Rice, taco stuff, pastas.
Yep.
Strawberries for my daughter.
It'll be great. I'll just buy the same thing every week, and I'll know exactly what it is. Like I'll pre-buy it. You'll text me. I'll just go to my cupboard. Be like, here you go.
My daughter likes her strawberries pretty fresh though, so you'd have to make sure you pick up the strawberries on the way.
That's not. If I have to pick one thing, this isn't bad. Like I'll get those shipped to your house. So I'll have the rest of it in the cart. I'll buy it when it's on sale. Say, see. So and no, like that's good to know, like about the Amazon, because you know Amazon, everybody's like, oh, it pays really good, but no, when they expand the zone, like the farther you go, and that was the hard part with like Uber is, you know, now people start to learn it, but I had the job, as I said, I went to the airport, right? So I'm all the way Grand Rapids type thing, drive to the airport. I'm like, well, there's nothing here. Well, when you're in the airport area, Uber doesn't work because of the towers and stuff. You have to go sit across the street at Wendy's, wait for somebody to get an Uber. And that, I mean, because Grand Rapids it's a small, medium-sized hub.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Chicago, right?
It's probably the second biggest in the state because it is Grand Rapids.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not
but
Detroit.
It's no metro. It's no it's not even Midway.
Well, there's not designated parking for Ubers.
No.
You know, when you go to
Gerald R. Ford is in Midway.
Right. When you go to Las Vegas, right, you pop out and it's literally taxis here, Ubers here, Lyfts here, and they have their own 3 different doors, 3 different stories. And like these people are lined up, just that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, here, no. I mean, so, you know, I hop in and I was like, I got lucky that day because I got a phone call that I had to go look at a house really quick. So I fly over to something else and I ended up buying a house that day. So those people are pretty lucky. And they got me the t-shirt. Man, that was an all right kind of day.
There you go.
No, it's not like a taxi where you have where there's a meter and you're guaranteed a certain amount of money per mile that you drive.
No, you are. So yeah, it's mileage. Back then I think it was like $2, $2.50 just to get in the car, and then X amount per mile, right? Like
It's kind of like a taxi.
30 cents, but the minimum was $4, right? So in Grand Rapids, it's just like we talk about Shipt. Like it was really beneficial to do the small ones if you can get them like right back to back. Because back when I started, I mean, there was nobody doing it. So I remember one night I happened to be able to like work really late, and so I was like, I'm gonna see what this night thing's about. And I went from like a quarter mile outside of downtown, dropped this person off at a bar, grabbed a person from that bar, drove him up the road to the corner. Like, and I was making, it was like 4, and I had like a crap ton of $4 things. And I was like, all right, I could see how this could add up because
you had it in no time.
Yeah, when people wanted to go bar hopping, I mean, they literally, if it was any bit outside, like, I mean, they wouldn't walk a quarter mile, right? I mean, we're Grand Rapids. People don't walk here. Like, this isn't.
It's not Chicago.
It's not New York. It's not, I mean, granted, when we went to New York, we take Ubers like to go over the bridge and do stuff like that, but it's not.
The only time I've ever used Uber is in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because, we were at Celebration 19 and we had to go to the Museum of Science and Industry, which was, a 15-minute drive. I didn't, because we were in the hotel and it was a packed convention. I'm like, oh, I don't want to take the car out.
Yep.
What if we don't get a parking spot? Mm-hmm. So I Ubered.
Yep.
We Ubered the next day to Lou Malnati's.
Yep.
Which was, it probably was 2 miles away. I'm not walking that. I just walked all day.
Yeah. No, and that's, and so it's got its benefits, and they're getting more and more competitive, like in pricing. So,
once you get competition, you have to. And I mean, Uber has turned into, they've got their food delivery too, and
yep. Well, and they had the same thing. Do you have surge hours with the food thing?
There are certain areas where you get it. Like when I was up with David on Saturday, like I was getting things, and it was like if I was willing to, deliver in like the main downtown Grand Rapids area, I could have gotten like $2 more per delivery.
Sure. And that's what Uber would do. They do the surge times and zones, and it's funny because back then, and I fell for it right away. Like you'd fly to that zone, right? Because you want the surge money. But then by the time you got there, 15 other people were there. So then the next zone that you were just in. So, I learned, and it's funny because I remember, sometimes I'd start right at 1 o'clock and people aren't moving at 1 o'clock. And I'd work in, 10, 12 hours a day or something. So I would just pull by a meter on the side of the road, and I'd take a nap, and I had a parking lady like tap on the glass, and she's like, you can't stay here with meters out. And I was like, I was just leaving, and just take off real quick. But I'd take naps, and then my phone would buzz, and here we go. So I didn't mind it. But now with the Amazon thing, did you have to sign up to say that you're going to pick up a package?
You had to sign up for a block.
Okay.
So you could sign up for a 3.5 or 4 hour block.
Oh, that's how long it took you to deliver?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then you had a number of packages based on that time and where you were going.
Yep.
And if it took you longer than that, you could put in for, extra pay, which when we did it, extra pay was pretty much guaranteed. They just gave you 2 extra hours. So, I mean, if you picked up a 3-hour shift for $90 and it took you 4 hours, they just pay another, $60 to do it.
Sure.
So instead you made $150 in those 4 hours,
that's better money.
Yeah, it was good money. And, there were times I had done one and basically I got Wyoming from the hospital to probably Ivan Rest.
Okay.
And then as far north as maybe 52nd Street.
Oh, wow, really
so
small.
I mean, it was a small area, but a ton of packages.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was done in like an hour and a half, and you still got paid for the 3.
Sure.
So I mean, there were routes like that were beautiful.
Yeah.
But the first one I got was out in West Olive. It was a 3.5 hour. It took me 4.5 to 5 hours.
Because that's spread out.
Yeah, it was night. It was snowy.
Oh.
I went to 2 private communities where the minute I got in, they're like, "Why are you here?
Yeah.
You don't belong here." Yeah. And it was just a freaking nightmare.
Have you had any negatives yet, Mike?
In terms of reviews,
Sure. In terms of reviews or issues with stuff.
no, not really. I mean, the one, I guess the worst one was today trying to get through a drive-through at Taco Bell to pick up my order. Taco Bell is like, they've got the worst system I think ever. Like, I don't think they start making your food until you get to the window.
Oh, sure.
Everybody sits. So like, I sat for like 15 minutes waiting to get through the drive-through at Taco Bell, which is insane.
Well, and say it's hard because and one thing I want to say is because I just seen this on Facebook. Um, I guess I don't blame them for not making the food until you get to the window because how many people will order, then just drive through? Like they'll order something big, right? So I mean, I guess I'm not gonna Grubhub for my normal order, which is a beef burrito and a chicken.
Well,
mini steak.
I'm talking about like every order. I'm talking
Yeah.
people who are even driving through the drive-through. I feel like they don't start it until
That's what I'm saying. Like, but
you paid and you're at the window.
until you actually pay, which is fine. I mean, it's fine because again on Facebook there was somebody ordered, it was like 15 pizzas, right? And so then they were like, hey, normally we give them to these people, but it's not, does anybody need them? So they gave them to needy people and all that. And it was like, but there's so many people call and don't pay for their orders, and people pre-make them, and
We even at Wendy's, we didn't have anything pre-made.
sure,
We just had things that were possibly warmed up or ready to go.
yeah,
So I mean, we'd have 2 rows of meat on the grill. And when you got rid of a row of meat, you throw another row down. Or if you're really busy, you throw 2 or 3 rows down.
yep,
Yeah.
So it's not pre-made, but it's cooking ready for you to come in and order it.
yeah,
Or if we had chicken, and we were running low, we go drop more chicken. Hey, chicken's pretty popular right now. Drop 8 instead of 6. Okay.
no, and so yeah, so it just depends on the business though.
Oh, that was, like I said, a big wait, and it wasn't a huge order. It was probably only like a $10-12 order. But all I got was like the $3 delivery fee. Not the person didn't tip, and so it was kind of like I sat in line to get nothing.
Sure. Well,
And
that's
I mean, it depends on the place, because some places like, one of the orders I did Sunday, the first order I did was a Taco Bell breakfast. And it was the one that's just like half mile or mile from where I live. Their lobby was open, not for people to go in, but I mean, to sit, but you could go in and order and get your food and leave. And so I was able to go in and get my pickup,
sure.
not wait through the drive-through.
So, I'm not new to it, or I'm new to it, right? So I see it when I go to Qdoba, they just have this big giant rack, and it's like
Yep.
15 freaking orders on there. And
Yep.
me, like, I don't want people to assume I know what I'm doing. So it's like, I wish there was somebody there to be like, hey, Grubhub's over here, look for the name, look, and then take it.
And some do. Some will be like, this is DoorDash, this is Grubhub, this is Uber Eats. Like Panera has a great system.
Yeah,
Panera prints out the receipt with the person's name, The app with Panera doesn't, because of how they set it up, you don't get like a list of what the person ordered. That's one of the other things you have to do, is you have to make sure that the person's order is what they're actually getting from the place. So you hope that you're getting an itemized receipt with everything listed, so you can be like, yep. I mean, nowadays they seal all the bags because of COVID and everything, so you
Yep.
can't like open the bag and be like, McDonald's, yep, that's a Big Mac, that's a quarter pounder with cheese, yep, that's 2 large fries.
man, you're buying for rich people.
Mm.
No, and that's one of the biggest things I hear is they always forget the pop.
Yeah, I could see
Everybody
that.
I know that orders like, oh, I didn't get my drink. I didn't get my drink. And I'm just like, Jesus, man, this is why I go.
I had one yesterday that, it's the running joke. I picked up at McDonald's, the ice cream machine was broken.
Yeah.
The guy had ordered a McFlurry, and they basically said our ice cream machine's broken. Text the person and let them know that they're going to need a refund through DoorDash. The guy was really nice about it. I messaged him when I picked it up, and I said, hey, when I stopped at McDonald's, the ice cream machine was broken. So, just contact go through the DoorDash app and get your refund, and they didn't give me a negative review or anything because I communicated the issue.
So before we end this one, because we're going to get ready to get Vanessa on here in a couple, I got a great story about DoorDash. So Dairy Queen started accepting DoorDash where my daughter works, and she's an assistant manager, and she's in the mall. So her Dairy Queen is very limited on what they have. They have basically drinks with the Orange Julius. They have shakes. They have, frozen ice cream items, no cakes.
Yep.
So they decide they're going to do DoorDash. And the first 5-6 orders she gets all include food.
Oh.
And she's like, this is bull. We don't have food. And mind you, her manager had told them, we don't have any food, don't offer food. And all these people are ordering DoorDash, and they all want hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff, and they don't have any hot food. It's just ice cream. So she just was going nuts on how angry she was that they were screwing everything up. And it's obviously gotten better now because they've been doing it for quite a while, but those first few, I know they were hell on her.
It's amazing what you see, because there's like now Chili's has this, it's just wings. You can get just wings from Chili's, and it's not Chili's, it's just wings, but you have to go to Chili's to pick them up. Like Logan's Roadhouse has some slider thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Fazoli's on West Main has some virtual kitchen where people make Vietnamese food.
All right. Let's see.
It's like, because I'm like, where do I go for this? And they're like, go to Fazoli's. And I'm like, oh, okay, I have to go to Fazoli's.
Oh, geez. Let's say, I think we've done pretty all right talking specifics about.
Yeah, we hit a lot of different ones.
Uber, Grubhub, and I like the facts of Mike being the person he is and not wanting the social interaction, me wanting the social interaction.
See, and I'm with him. I couldn't do Ship. There's just too much interaction. I could do a delivery service because
I could do Shipt if it wasn't for the actual physical shopping.
Yeah.
See, I love shopping. And okay, the thing I think I love about Shipt is it's meant for me. It's like, I love order picking. Okay, so right from what I understand, I've never done Shipt, but from what I understand, it's like, all right, you're gonna go to aisle 1, in each shelf. Most people don't know is
oh yeah, it's all coded
ABC, and so people don't know, and so it's that's perfect for me because I'm gonna go there. If it's not there, I'm gonna call your ass out because how much you suck as a merchandiser. But no, I think it's a really awesome thing, but I would just get so irritated with when something's out of stock and have to spend 10 minutes to figure out what other item they want. And
because all the communication is via text, so it's not like I have to call somebody on the phone, or
I'd rather call you on the phone.
You even have to only go face to face with the people if you're checking their ID for alcohol.
Yeah, see, and I'm okay with that because I'd rather call on the phone just so I can get the answer, because we all know me typing something out, you're not going to read it. I mean,
no.
You'll get it, but it's not gonna make sense. I'm gonna list a bunch of things and you're like, what are you asking? Look, do you want the? Forget it. Let me just call you because I don't have time for this. So.
No burritos. What need?
Right, exactly. It's exactly no shells. What do you want? Right? What do you mean? What do I want? I want shells. There's no shells. What do you mean? There's no shells? Look, I don't have this time, Tina.
I almost wonder if there's some picture thing that there's you take the picture of the Scantron, and it's because it's the store does not have the requested item. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You just basically say you're on the app and you're you hit a button and say this one, and you say doesn't have it, and it just automatically sends the message, because it seems very pre-written.
So what a lot of the Shipt shoppers do is they use shortcuts on their keyboard.
Yeah.
And then they just have to hit whatever that shortcut is, and it just puts in the message automatically, and they just change it, little variations here and there, because Dawn had all of those set up. So if something was out of stock, or when she was heading to checkout, she had all those ready to go, so it took no time. She was just there.
Okay, I think there has to be a way to do it. To me, it was either that, or there's just buttons like, with like DoorDash, unless I have to text or take a picture to prove that I've delivered, everything is like, I say, I arrive at the restaurant, I swipe it, and that changes in their app at the restaurant when you're looking at it from a customer side.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I've got the food and I'm in my car, I'll hit a button and then it changes to like on the way.
Yeah.
And then you can actually
sounds
see on the map where the person is.
Sounds like too much work for me because I don't need to tell you where I am, right? I mean, man, it sure looks like he's been sitting on the crapper for 10 minutes because I was sitting on the crapper for 10 minutes. I'm not gonna say. But Mike, thanks so much for joining us and telling us the great news. Congrats on making a financial decision to better your future and your family's future. Like that's a huge.
He said it may only end up being $4,000 or $5,000 a year, but that's still $4,000 or $5,000 a year that's going into college funds or retirement or the stock market.
So it's $4,000 or $5,000 this year, but next year it's $4,000 or $5,000 plus $5. The next year it's $4,000 or $5,000 plus 15, and soon.
Who knows what your returns look like?
Right. I mean, soon. Who? Exactly.
I mean, if you can make 20% off that 4,000,
that's huge money.
That's huge.
I mean,
yep.
$800, I'll take it all day, every day.
Yeah.
So,
hit us up with your normal, Nick.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we did. Big shout out to my tried and true in the blue, Bud Light. Dude, when you guys hear that on a commercial, they're gonna be like, tried and true, get the blue. And they're gonna be like, oh man. Anheuser-Busch, Bucks and Brews, that's who we are. Like always, like, subscribe, share, hit the dislike button because David's ugly. Smash the like button because you like my pretty face. We really appreciate.
So Mackenzie's excellent beer. I'm saving my Atwater for the next one. Mike, what did you drink while we did this?
I drank the Shorts Brewery PB&J, which was good. The Stevens Point Milkshake Malt, which is one of the smoothest porters I have ever drank.
Well, I'll try that.
It was great.
You heard it here first, folks.
And then I finished the O'Fallon Dad's oatmeal stout, which was good as well. I think my three in rank order of what I've drank was the Stevens Point, the O'Fallons, and the Shorts this time.
There we go.
All right. Well, we will we'll join you guys really next week, but for Mike, we'll join Mike again in like 2 minutes here.
Yeah. So take care.
We'll talk to you guys soon.